Welcome back to Behind the Curtain. Today we are going to review with you another horrible case. Life in an orphanage is not the best. You don't have your own corner. You don't have your own time. And if you can't fight back, you get beaten up by those who have been here for a long time. Amanda and Anamarie McClure are a little luckier than the others. When there are two of you, the likelihood of fighting back increases. Besides, these juvenile aggressors only pick on loners. The sisters were comfortable alone and did not try to get acquainted with anyone. They hoped that their stay in this hell would not be long. Soon, their mother would find out that their father had been imprisoned, which meant that the girls were sent to an orphanage from which they should be taken away as soon as possible. It is impossible not to find out that Father Larry McClure was sent to prison. It was talked about on TV and written in newspapers for a long time. Time passed. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. It became clear that we could forget about returning home. One day, the sisters rescued a newcomer, Meredith. The girl lived with her drug-addicted mother, was very thin, frightened, and flinched at any rustle. She came to the shelter after her mother died of an overdose, and Meredith herself was afraid to call the emergency services, so she lived with her body for a few days. One day, a friend came to visit her mother, and upon finding her friend dead, called emergency services from a payphone so as not to be involved in any way. Meredith became a friend to the McClure sisters, the three of them becoming more fun and safer. Amanda and Anamarie had never told anyone the reason they were here. Meredith had asked about it once, but Anamarie had brushed it off and blurted out something about a policeman father who had tried to apprehend a dangerous criminal, but had been killed on the job. Amanda listened to the story with her eyes wide open, but her sister gave her a look that told her to stay out of it. Enraptured by their father's posthumous deed, Meredith told about the sisters' fate to the other students of the orphanage, and in an instant, the sisters turned into real stars. They were respected. They were envied because most of those who were here had parents who either died from illegal substances or went to prison. Eventually, all the children wanted to be friends with the sisters, and their reclusive life came to an end. Unfortunately, this beautiful life, albeit in an orphanage, quickly came to an end. Unknown from where the information appeared that the father of Anamarie and Amanda is not a dead police officer at all, but on the contrary, a living criminal serving time in prison for violent acts of a sexual nature towards a young girl. Then the fate of the sisters turned into a real hell. However, after a while, they were lucky. Fortunately, two different families decided to adopt the girls almost simultaneously, and they got the opportunity to start a new life, but already separately. The connection between them broke and was lost. There are no details about the sisters' life in foster homes. Amanda and Anamarie could remain in this story only as children of the rapist, but their adult life flowed into the most high-profile case in the state of Virginia. Amanda is known to be married to 38-year-old John Maguire. They met when she was already 29 years old. Her adoptive parents even began to worry that Amanda would be a loner for the rest of her life, and a lack of biological family, including the betrayal of her mother, had a negative impact on her psyche. The foster parents breathed a sigh of relief only when Amanda admitted to them that she had a young man with whom they were going to get married. It was the second wedding for John, and he also had two sons from his first marriage. Anamarie had never been able to build her family. One could be happy for Amanda. She really could have a strong and loving family. John was an incredibly positive guy. What could be said against it if even with his ex-wife, they had a warm and friendly relationship? After a while, the sisters' father, Larry McClure, was released on parole. Settling still in the same Virginia, in a mobile home, he made no small effort to find his daughters. The first place he went was to Amanda's foster parents, Glenn and Alex. Larry went straight to their house, said hello, introduced himself, said he wanted to see his daughter, and asked for her contacts, address, and phone number. Outwardly, he looked very bad, even frightening deep wrinkles all over his face, huge bags under his eyes, and besides, as it seemed to them, he was not sober. No, he didn't smell of alcohol, and he didn't stagger from side to side on shaky legs. But in general, his behavior was not adequate. Glenn refused Larry's request, but promised that they would be sure to tell Amanda that her biological father was looking for her. Larry had been really freaked out when he'd heard the phrase biological father, but he thanked him and left. Glenn had indeed kept his word. He had told Amanda that her father was free and looking for her. In the back of Amanda's mind, there was a demon who denied everything and advised to send her father to hell, and an angel who advised giving her father, though a criminal, another chance. The angel won, though it was unclear who was better to listen to. First, Amanda called her father. He said he was very happy to hear from her, asked how she was doing. She told him that she was doing well, married, and feeling happy. Larry was happy for his daughter and suggested that she come over for a joint dinner with her husband. Amanda didn't realize if she should live to see her father, but it was as if he knew just what to push. Come on, forget the old grudges. I have lived all these years with only one thought, to see you and Anamarie. Anna, unlike you, must have missed me after all. You've already seen her, Amanda wondered. Of course I have. We went on a nature trip with her, had a wonderful time, like a real family, like father and daughter. It was like those years of separation never happened. She also asked a lot about you. If Amanda didn't know how to deal with her father, she wanted to see her sister, who had been separated from her in the orphanage almost 20 years ago. And so she agreed. In the case file, there is no description of their first meeting, but two facts are known. Larry lied about Anamarie. At that time, she lived in North Carolina, which is 186 miles from Virginia, and Larry had never seen or spoken to her. And so, father and daughter met. Their meetings led to Larry getting Amanda and John hooked on illegal substances that he brewed himself in his camper. Larry literally used the daughter and son-in-law. Before meeting the father, the financial situation of the couple was stable, but Larry pulled money from them for the production of illegal substances. When Amanda and John lost their jobs because of their addiction, Larry persuaded John to register because drug addicts received help from the state in the amount of $180, which was still not enough to buy substances and ingredients. That's when Anamarie appears in the story, and Larry uses her in the same way. He gets her hooked on substances and pulls money out of her. Amanda and John find themselves at an impasse. They have no jobs because of huge debts. They lose their house, and the only way to stay afloat is to move into Larry's camper. John's folks at this point still had no idea. He called his parents. His mother was seriously ill at the time. John informed them that he and Amanda were going on a trip together. That was the last time John's parents heard their son alive. In fact, no trip was planned. Amanda and John moved in with Larry, where they engaged in a small circle of illicit substance use and alcohol consumption. The whole tragedy occurred on Valentine's Day. John, who rarely recovered from the effects of illegal substances, was still madly in love with Amanda and decided to prepare a surprise for her, a festive evening in the family circle. He bought meat and alcohol, cooked a fancy dinner at which, in addition to his wife, of course, were Larry and Anamarie. Under the prolonged influence of the drugs, a terrible madness occurred in the family. Amanda and Larry became much closer than father and daughter. Unfortunately, John couldn't see it coming. Yes, you all thought right. Father and daughter considered themselves a couple. Therefore, John was now redundant. During the meal, John spoke many warm words to Amanda, and Larry was insanely nervous about it, and the tension grew. Eventually, Larry interrupted his son-in-law's speech and asked him if he could be completely honest with his wife. The man replied in agreement. Then Larry proposed a game. John's legs were tied, and he was asked to answer honestly all the questions that related to his personal life. Yes, at first the questions were really harmless: childhood, school, university, and all that. But at some point, Larry, under the influence of drugs, began to accuse John of being an undercover FBI agent. When John denied it, they started beating him up. It ended when John, begging for mercy and covering himself with his hands, tried to untie his legs. Then, Larry strangled his son-in-law. Amanda watched silently as her father deprived her beloved husband of life. Anamarie, though she didn't know John that well, was also in shock. Months later, during an unrelated investigation, Larry McClure confessed to the murder. His detailed account led investigators to the gruesome discovery of John Maguire's body. During the trial, the court heard disturbing details about the family's dynamic and the events leading up to the murder. Amanda and Anamarie's loyalty to their father, despite his criminal past, played a significant role in the crime. This case highlights the powerful and often destructive influence of familial bonds, particularly when combined with substance abuse and criminal behavior. Amanda and Anamarie's willingness to participate in such a heinous act speaks to the deep psychological manipulation at play. Larry McClure was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Amanda McClure received a 40-year sentence, while Anamarie McClure was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The murder of John Maguire left his family devastated, struggling to comprehend how such a tragic event could unfold within what was supposed to be a safe and loving environment. The case of Amanda and Anamarie McClure serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of substance abuse, the impact of a toxic family environment, and the devastating consequences that can arise from misguided loyalty. As always, if you or someone you know is in a dangerous situation, seek help immediately. Thank you for joining us tonight. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Stay safe and take care of each other. Until next time.